Have you ever felt like life is pulling you in different directions? Like you're holding on to things that no longer serve you, but you fear the emptiness if you let go? What would it feel like if you could release that burden and feel lighter, freer, without constantly fighting the current of life? Imagine this. A monk holds a beautiful porcelain cup, treasuring it more than anything. One day, the unthinkable happens. The cup slips and shatters. In that moment, the monk feels sadness, but his master calmly says, "That cup was already broken from the beginning." What does this story teach us? That holding on to things, whether possessions, relationships, or old habits, only leads to suffering. The key to peace is in letting go and accepting life as it is. Does this resonate with you? Have you ever experienced the peace that comes with releasing control? In today's fast-paced world, many of us find ourselves overwhelmed by attachment, fear, and the need for control. We hold on to things tightly, whether it's a job, a relationship, or our own expectations of life. But what if true peace isn't about holding on, it's about letting go? What if, by learning to detach, accept, and trust, we could find deeper fulfillment and balance in life? This article will explore 3 core Buddhist teachings: detachment, acceptance, and trust in life. These teachings can help us let go of the constant struggle, embrace change, and flow with life's natural rhythm. In a world where everything is in constant motion, learning how to embrace impermanence is crucial for finding peace and balance, both in our personal and professional lives. The purpose of this article is to show how Buddhist wisdom can help us live more fully by embracing impermanence, letting go of control, and trusting life's flow. Through these teachings, we can overcome fear, release attachments, and find peace in the present moment. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. What are you holding on to that no longer serves you? What fears or attachments are keeping you stuck? By the end of this article, you'll be equipped with tools to let go of control and trust life's journey. Are you ready to begin? Let's dive in and explore these teachings together. Before we dive into today's topic, let me take a moment to introduce our channel, Son.Mindfulness. Here, we explore the teachings of mindfulness and Buddhism to help you find peace, clarity, and balance in your daily life. Our goal is to provide practical wisdom, actionable steps, and gentle reminders that empower you to live a more conscious and fulfilling life. If you find today's video helpful, I encourage you to subscribe to Son.Mindfulness, where we offer regular content that nurtures your well-being. By subscribing, you'll join a community of like-minded individuals on a journey toward inner peace and growth. Thank you so much for being here. I hope today's lessons bring value to your life. May you always be healthy, peaceful, and happy. May you continue to discover the beauty of living with ease and grace. Let's get started. Part 2. The power of letting go. The nature of attachment. Have you ever found yourself clinging to something, afraid to let go? Whether it's a possession, a relationship, or a plan, attachment often creates an invisible chain that holds us back. You may not realize it, but these attachments are like heavy weights around our ankles, slowing down our progress toward peace and personal growth. Take the story of a monk who cherished a porcelain cup, a gift from his master. He loved the cup dearly and kept it close, protecting it from harm. One day, the unthinkable happened. The cup slipped from his hands and shattered into 1,000 pieces. The monk felt a pang in his chest, a deep sadness. But then his master spoke calmly. That cup was already broken from the beginning. This story highlights how attachment to material things or even people can hold us in a state of fear. Fear of loss, fear of change. It keeps us stuck, and when things inevitably change, we feel crushed. The truth is, nothing in this world is permanent. Not our belongings, not our loved ones, and not our situations. Think about it. Do you ever find yourself holding on to things, people, or situations out of fear of losing them. It could be an old friendship, a job, or even an idea of who you are. We hold on to these things not because they serve us, but because we fear the emptiness that might follow their absence. How would your life change if you let go of these attachments and trusted that whatever is meant for you will find its way? In letting go, we don't lose. Instead, we create space for new possibilities. As the monk's master said, that cup was already broken. It wasn't the loss of the cup that caused suffering, but the attachment to it, the illusion of control. How many times have you tried to control every aspect of your life? We all do it, holding tight to the reins, believing that if we just plan well enough, we can avoid the unexpected. But the truth is, life cannot be controlled. Just like a river that follows its course despite any obstacles, life will flow its own way, regardless of how tightly we try to grasp it. Consider the story of a farmer planting seeds. He carefully chooses the best soil, waters the crops, and waits for the right season to harvest. But what the farmer cannot control is the weather. No matter how much effort he puts in, if a storm comes, the plants might be damaged. The farmer learns to accept that nature follows its own course. There's only so much that is in his hands. We too try to control outcomes in our lives. Maybe it's the outcome of a relationship, the success of a project at work, or even our health. We put in the effort, set our plans, but what happens if things don't go according to plan? That's when frustration and stress set in. But what if we could accept the uncertainty instead of fighting it? By letting go of the need to control everything, we free ourselves from anxiety. The farmer doesn't stress over the storm. He simply does what he can and accepts the rest. What would happen if we could do the same in our lives? Put in our best effort and then release the need for control over the outcome. How many times have you stressed over an outcome only to realize that, in the end, it was out of your hands? What would it feel like to let go of that need to control everything? Detachment versus indifference. There's a common misconception about detachment. Some might think that detachment means being cold or indifferent, but it's quite the opposite. Detachment is about freedom, freedom from the emotional shackles that tie us to expectations, outcomes, and possessions. Indifference, on the other hand, is the absence of care or concern, a coldness that keeps us distant from others. Take the story of a mother who lets her child go off to school for the first time. She doesn't want to let go, but she knows that independence is a part of her child's growth. She lets go not because she doesn't care, but because she loves and trusts that her child will grow stronger by facing the world on their own. In this case, detachment allows the mother to support her child without clinging. So, what's the difference? Detachment allows us to love and care deeply without needing to possess or control. It's the freedom to experience life fully, while accepting that we cannot hold on to everything forever. Indifference, on the other hand, shuts us off from connection, keeping us distant from others and from our own emotions. Think about it. Are there areas in your life where you've mistaken detachment for indifference? Maybe you've held on to relationships, expectations, or outcomes with a sense of possession, not realizing that letting go could actually lead to deeper love and connection. How can you learn to practice detachment in your own life while still nurturing your relationships? Practical steps to letting go. Letting go doesn't happen overnight, but with small, consistent steps, you can begin to release the things that are holding you back. Here are a few practical ways to practice detachment in everyday life. 1. Let go of negative thoughts. We often hold on to thoughts that no longer serve us. Thoughts of past mistakes, failures, or judgments about ourselves. These thoughts tie us to our past and keep us from moving forward. Start by observing these thoughts without judgment. When negative thoughts arise, acknowledge them, but choose to let them go instead of letting them define you. 2. Release grudges. Holding on to anger or resentment towards someone from the past only weighs us down. It doesn't change the past, and it certainly doesn't affect the person we're angry at. Letting go of grudges is an act of self-liberation. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning someone's actions, but it does mean releasing the hold that anger has over you. 3. Accept change without fear. Change can be unsettling, but it's the only constant in life. When faced with change, whether it's a new job, a move to a new city, or the end of a relationship, embrace it as an opportunity for growth. Trust that, just like the river flowing through the landscape, life is moving you where you need to be. 4. Practice mindfulness and meditation. Meditation is a powerful tool for letting go of attachments. By sitting in stillness, observing your thoughts without clinging to them, you learn to release your attachments to them. Regular mindfulness practice helps you to stay present, to focus on what is happening right now, rather than worrying about the past or future. 5. Let go of control. As we discussed earlier, the need to control everything leads to stress. Try practicing the art of surrendering in small ways. Let go of the need to control the outcome of every situation. Trust that the universe has its own timing and that everything will unfold as it should. Let go of perfectionism. Things don't need to go exactly as planned to be meaningful or fulfilling. By letting go, we create space for new possibilities. Instead of holding on to the past, we open ourselves to the future. Letting go doesn't mean giving up on what's important. It means making room for what truly serves you. What can you begin to let go of today? At the end of this section, we've learned that letting go is not about losing. It's about freeing ourselves from the attachments that limit our growth. But how can we embrace the unknown and trust life's flow? In the next section, we'll explore embracing impermanence and how accepting change can bring true peace. Part 3. Embracing impermanence. What does impermanence teach us? Have you ever watched a river flow? It moves constantly, never the same, yet always flowing forward. Life is like that river, always in motion, never stagnant. We may try to hold on to certain moments or things, but just like the river, everything changes. This is the essence of impermanence. Impermanence is a natural part of life, yet it's something that many of us resist. We want stability, comfort, and certainty, but change is inevitable. Think of the Buddhist story about a wild horse that appeared in a remote village. The villagers marveled at how fortunate the old monk was to have such a fine animal. Soon after, the monk's son tried to tame the horse but fell and broke his leg. The villagers then exclaimed, "What bad luck!" The monk, however, calmly replied, "Good luck or bad luck, who knows?" Sometime later, a war broke out, and all the young men from the village were drafted, except for the monk's son, who couldn't fight because of his injury. The villagers once again marveled at how fortunate the monk was. What seemed like misfortune, the horse, the injury, was actually part of a larger, unfolding story. Life works in cycles. What we perceive as bad luck might turn into something that benefits us in the long run. If we embrace impermanence and accept change, we can release our grip on things that no longer serve us. When we stop resisting change, we allow ourselves to flow with life, like the river. The fear of loss. Why do we fear loss so much? Isn't it natural to resist change, to hold on tightly to things we cherish? The fear of loss is rooted in attachment. We fear losing our possessions, our relationships, or even the versions of ourselves we have created over time. But holding on too tightly often keeps us stuck, unable to move forward. Think of the story of someone who loses their job. At first, the person feels devastated, unsure of what to do next. The fear of loss becomes overwhelming, and it seems like the world is collapsing. But as time passes, this person finds a new opportunity, perhaps even a better one, something they had never imagined. What seemed like a devastating loss actually open the door to growth and new possibilities. The fear of loss keeps us from seeing the opportunities that change can bring. We often become so focused on holding on to what we have that we miss the new opportunities waiting for us. The key is not to resist change, but to see it as an invitation to grow. We may not always understand why things happen the way they do, but if we trust that change is part of the natural cycle of life, we can begin to let go of that fear. Are you holding on to something in your life out of fear of losing it? What might happen if you let go and allowed life to take its course? The liberation of acceptance. Acceptance is not resignation. It's not about giving up or abandoning hope. Instead, acceptance is a form of liberation. It is the freedom to let go of our resistance to reality and embrace life as it is. Radical acceptance means acknowledging what is without judgment. It's about saying yes to life, even when it doesn't go as planned. Consider the story of a person facing a difficult illness. At first, they fought against their diagnosis, filled with anger and frustration. They resisted the reality of their situation, clinging to the hope that it could somehow change. But after some time, they found peace by accepting their condition for what it was. In that acceptance, they discovered a new sense of inner peace, no longer consumed by the battle against reality. Radical acceptance doesn't mean we have to like everything that happens to us. It simply means we stop resisting the inevitable. Acceptance allows us to let go of the mental and emotional weight that comes with fighting what cannot be changed. When we stop fighting, we open ourselves to greater peace and clarity. This doesn't mean we stop striving for improvement. It simply means we stop battling against the flow of life. How often do you find yourself resisting reality? What would it feel like to stop resisting and simply accept what is? Applying impermanence to everyday life. So, how can we apply the concept of impermanence to our everyday lives? First, we need to recognize that everything is in a constant state of flux. Whether it's our work, relationships, or health, change is always happening. Instead of fighting against it, we can embrace it and use it as an opportunity for growth. In our careers, for example, we may face setbacks or challenges. Perhaps we lose a client, or our job is eliminated. Instead of clinging to the security of our current situation, we can see this as an opportunity to try something new, to reinvent ourselves, or to discover a new passion. By accepting that everything is temporary, we allow ourselves the freedom to move forward without the burden of past disappointments. In relationships, too, change is inevitable. People grow, evolve, and sometimes move in different directions. Rather than resisting the changes in our relationships, we can embrace them with gratitude for the experiences we've shared. This acceptance opens the door to deeper connections and allows us to live more fully in the present. In our personal growth, we often expect rapid progress, but personal transformation takes time. Embracing impermanence helps us understand that change comes in its own time, and rushing it only creates frustration. By accepting the natural flow of life, we allow ourselves to grow at our own pace. What is something in your life that you've resisted because it's changing? How can you embrace that change and trust the process? As we reflect on how impermanence shapes our lives, it becomes clear that embracing change leads to freedom. But how do we learn to trust that everything is unfolding as it should? In the next section, we'll explore cultivating trust in life and how letting go of control allows us to find deeper peace and confidence in life's journey. Part 4. Cultivating trust in life. The role of trust in finding peace. Have you ever tried to control every outcome in your life? We often think that if we manage everything perfectly, we can avoid problems. But life doesn't work that way. In fact, one of the greatest sources of peace comes from learning to trust the process. Trusting life, trusting the universe, is what allows us to release the constant need for control and, in turn, find peace. Imagine an archer preparing to shoot an arrow. The archer knows they can control the aim of the arrow, but they can't control the wind or the movement of the target. What they can control is their focus and the direction they choose to aim in. The archer has to trust that even if the wind blows or the target shifts, the arrow will hit its mark if they adjust and remain resilient. This is how life works. We may not control everything, but we can choose how we respond to the circumstances around us. In that choice lies the peace we seek. The key to cultivating peace is trust. Trust that life will unfold as it should, and that even the unexpected moments can lead us to where we need to be. Do you trust the process of life even when things don't go as planned? What would it feel like to let go of your need to control every situation and trust that things will work out? Letting go of expectations. How often do we hold on to rigid expectations, believing that if we follow a certain path, the outcome will be exactly what we want? The truth is, when we place too much emphasis on a specific outcome, we limit our potential for growth. Life is full of possibilities, and the key to unlocking them is learning to let go of our expectations. Think of a person who invests time and effort into a new project. They pour their heart into it, but they don't obsess over the final result. Instead, they trust that no matter what happens, they will learn and grow from the experience. Even if the project doesn't turn out as expected, they know it's a step forward on their journey. The person understands that growth doesn't always come from success. Sometimes it comes from what we learn along the way. Letting go of expectations allows us to be more open to life's surprises. When we stop demanding that things go a certain way, we create space for new possibilities to emerge. We can no longer be disappointed by what doesn't happen because we're already open to whatever does. Are you holding on to expectations that are keeping you stuck? What would it feel like to trust that whatever happens is the right thing for you at this moment? The illusion of security. Many of us spend our lives seeking security, whether it's in the form of material wealth, stable relationships, or a well-defined career. We believe that by securing these things, we will find peace. But in reality, external security is an illusion. True security comes from within. Think about the monk who meditated alone in the wilderness. He had no material possessions, no family or friends nearby, and no certainty about the future. Yet, he was at peace. He had learned to find security within himself, not in the things around him. His peace didn't depend on external circumstances, but on his internal state of mind. True security doesn't come from what we have or who we know. It comes from knowing that, no matter what happens, we can handle it. When we rely too heavily on external factors for our sense of security, we become vulnerable to life's unpredictability. But when we cultivate inner trust, we no longer fear the unknown. We embrace it with confidence, knowing that we can face whatever comes our way. Where do you seek security in your life? What would it feel like to stop depending on external factors and trust that your inner strength is enough to guide you? Practical steps for building trust in life. So how can we build trust in life? Trust isn't something that happens overnight, but with small daily practices, we can strengthen it. Here are a few practical steps to help you cultivate trust in life. 1. Trust the process. Life unfolds in its own time. When we stop trying to force outcomes, we open ourselves to new opportunities and growth. Trust that whatever is meant for you will come when the time is right. Let go of the need to rush and embrace life's natural pace. 2. Let go of control. We cannot control everything. The sooner we accept this truth, the sooner we will find peace. Instead of trying to control the future, focus on the present moment. What actions can you take today to move toward your goals without obsessing over the result? 3. Practice gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful tool for cultivating trust. When we focus on what we have rather than what we lack, we begin to see the abundance that surrounds us. Take a few minutes each day to reflect on what you are grateful for. This simple practice can shift your mindset and help you trust that life is always providing for you. 4. Engage in mindfulness meditation. Meditation helps us focus on the present moment and quiets the noise of the world. When we meditate, we develop the ability to let go of our worries about the future and trust that everything is unfolding as it should. Try setting aside time each day to simply observe your thoughts without judgment. 5. Be patient with yourself. Trusting life is a journey, not a destination. Be patient with yourself as you learn to let go of control and embrace uncertainty. Know that every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to the peace and trust you seek. Trusting life is not about passivity, it's about active surrender, putting forth your best effort, and then releasing the need to control the outcome. What can you do today to start trusting life more fully? As we explore how to trust life, it's important to recognize that wisdom is found in embracing uncertainty. But how can we apply Buddhist teachings in our daily lives to deepen our understanding and grow wiser? In the next section, we'll explore practical wisdom from Buddhism and how the ancient teachings can guide us in navigating life with clarity and peace. Part 5. Practical wisdom from Buddhism, daily practices for peace. In today's fast-paced world, finding inner peace can seem like a distant dream. But peace isn't something that we find. It's something we cultivate through consistent practice. Buddhism offers practical tools that can help us develop balance and tranquility, even in the midst of daily chaos. Here are some simple practices you can incorporate into your routine. 1. Short daily meditation. Even just 5 minutes of sitting quietly, focusing on your breath, can help clear your mind and restore balance. When your thoughts start to wander, gently bring your focus back to your breath. This simple act helps train your mind to be more present and less distracted by worries. 2. Journaling. Writing down your thoughts and feelings is an excellent way to process emotions and gain clarity. It allows you to see your inner world clearly and helps you release pent-up stress or confusion. Try to write for 5 to 10 minutes each morning or evening, reflecting on how you feel and what you need to let go of. 3. Practice gratitude. Take a moment each day to reflect on what you are grateful for. By focusing on the positive aspects of your life, you shift your mindset from lack to abundance. Gratitude helps you cultivate a peaceful heart and opens you to more joy in your life. These small practices, when done consistently, can have a profound impact on your overall well-being. They remind us that peace comes from within and can be nurtured through simple, everyday actions. Radical acceptance in practice. Radical acceptance means fully embracing reality, even when it's difficult or painful. It's about letting go of the resistance to what is happening and instead accepting it with openness and understanding. This practice can be challenging, especially when faced with tough situations, but it is one of the most powerful ways to find peace. Take the story of a person who was struggling with their imperfect self-image and an unfulfilling job. They constantly fought against the reality of their situation, feeling frustrated and defeated. But one day, they decided to try radical acceptance. Instead of resisting their current situation, they chose to embrace it, accepting their imperfections and their circumstances without judgment. By doing so, they felt a sense of peace that had eluded them before. They realized that, by accepting their flaws and challenges, they could learn from them and grow. Radical acceptance doesn't mean resigning yourself to unhealthy situations. It doesn't mean you stop striving for improvement or change. Instead, it means acknowledging things as they are without judgment or resistance. This allows you to stop fighting against your circumstances and start moving forward with more clarity and peace. For example, if you're facing a challenging relationship, Radical acceptance might look like accepting the other person for who they are, without trying to change them. It's about letting go of unrealistic expectations and being at peace with what is. When you practice radical acceptance, you create space for healing and growth, both within yourself and in your relationships. How often do you resist accepting situations that are beyond your control? What would happen if you allowed yourself to fully accept what is and found peace in that acceptance? The role of compassion in finding peace. Compassion is at the heart of Buddhism. It's the practice of caring for others and ourselves with kindness and understanding. Without compassion, we can easily become overwhelmed by the suffering of life. But when we cultivate compassion, we open our hearts and minds to the suffering of others, which leads to greater peace. The practice of loving kindness meditation, metta bhavana, is one of the most well-known Buddhist practices for cultivating compassion. In this meditation, you begin by sending love and kindness to yourself. You silently repeat phrases like, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I live with ease." Once you've cultivated compassion for yourself, you expand this love to others, friends, family, and even those with whom you have conflicts. Loving kindness meditation isn't just about repeating phrases, it's about truly feeling the love and compassion in your heart. When you feel compassionate towards yourself, it becomes easier to extend that same compassion to others. Compassion for yourself allows you to accept your flaws and imperfections, and it creates space for you to heal and grow. And when you practice compassion for others, it helps you build deeper connections and fosters a sense of unity. The key to compassion is practice. You don't have to feel perfectly compassionate to begin practicing. It's a journey that unfolds over time. Every time you send loving thoughts to yourself or someone else, you are creating more peace within and around you. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes to respond to others with kindness, even in difficult situations. What does compassion look like in your life? How can you practice loving kindness toward yourself and others today? As we reflect on how Buddhist teachings offer practical wisdom for living a peaceful life, it's clear that these practices aren't just about finding temporary relief. They're about cultivating long-term peace and well-being. By practicing daily mindfulness, embracing radical acceptance, and cultivating compassion, we can begin to build a life that is more aligned with our true nature. In the next section, we'll explore conclusion, the journey of self-discovery, where we'll wrap up our exploration of these teachings and reflect on how they can guide us toward greater self-awareness and peace. Conclusion, the journey of self-discovery. As we conclude our journey through the teachings of Buddhism, we've explored how letting go, embracing impermanence, and cultivating trust in life can bring peace and freedom. The path to inner peace isn't always easy, but it's a journey worth taking. Each step, whether small or large, brings us closer to understanding ourselves and the world around us. By practicing radical acceptance, you'll find peace in the present moment, no longer fighting against life's natural flow. Letting go of rigid expectations opens doors to new possibilities. It allows you to grow in ways you never imagined. And remember, true security doesn't come from external circumstances, but from the peace within yourself. It's when you embrace your inner strength that you begin to feel truly secure. I want to thank each of you for joining me on this journey. I'm grateful for your time and attention. I hope that these teachings have brought you some clarity, and I'm excited for you to continue exploring these practices in your own life. Have you started to practice detachment in your own life? What changes have you noticed since embracing impermanence? I encourage you to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Let's continue this conversation together and support each other on this path. If you found value in these lessons, I invite you to subscribe and follow our journey on the Son.Mindfulness channel. By subscribing, you'll stay updated on future content that can help you deepen your practice. Your support means a lot, and I look forward to sharing more insights with you. May you always find peace, health, happiness, and good fortune. Thank you for being here. Thank you.